nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. I want to give a huge shout out to Royce for hosting. Was it last week? I guess it was.
Felt like 3 years ago, but yeah, last week.
The sun and the beach in Mexico. Time was. It's almost like being in Vegas. You have no idea what's going on.
It's island time, man. Island time is something else.
I thought you were gonna be on there in the jacuzzi with the margarita.
I would have, but I forgot my camera. That was part of the reason why I wasn't able to hop on. The Wi-Fi was a little bit questionable as well, but I had the microphone, but I forgot the camera, and the quality from the laptop just was not up to it. So
yeah, it was really cool that Harry texted us 30 minutes before we started the show and said, "Hey, here's the beach. I'm not joining you." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, we get it.
Hey, I had it set up ahead of time here, but so Royce, how have you been? You got your first hosting done. What have you been up to since then?
Dude, I've been super busy with work, obviously, with the fam. Number one, Rex actually had his very first soccer practice.
Oh, nice.
His first organized sporting event. Yeah, that was a hoot. Toddlers playing soccer was like half of them were just sitting there crying because they don't want to kick the ball, and then there's kids like Rex that are just trying to nail the other kid. That was good. Also helping host Mike Taylor shows, Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club barbecue on Saturday. So helping with that committee. So that's been kind of hectic.
That's actually got pretty big. And
yeah. It was like I've been going. We've had the meetings every Saturday for the last 4 weeks. And every Saturday it's, hey, why don't we do this? Hey, why don't we do this? Hey, why don't we do this? Yeah, it's been nuts. And they pretty much said yes to everything. So it's going to be crazy out there. I think there's still VIP tickets still available, $10 a piece, and you get free food basically. And there's a whole bunch of bands playing, and should be a good time.
And Mike Taylor just re-signed for 3 more years, I believe, as well with iHeartRadio. So.
See,
local. Speaking of Island Boy, speaking of that, he will be doing that here. So, yeah. Rafa, anything exciting going on in the land? I see you've got a new name on the screen here. Any background on that?
No, just having fun. Just been enjoying getting my soccer fix on.
So much soccer.
Well, watching. Oh, Brazil just scored, so
yes.
It's got a goal right now. So this is my 5th game watching. So it's great watching the Euro Cup and
Rafa, we're trying to be professional. Why are you watching TV while you're doing a pod? Come on, man.
I got it on
this
the
is
background.
Serious. This is serious. We have sponsors to answer to.
I got it in the background. I was going to mention it earlier.
I gotta take the Coca-Cola bottles out. Water bottle.
Dang it! I meant that my Pepsi bottle.
What
that and the Heineken?
Take out the Heineken.
Yeah,
I heard that cost a lot of sponsorship money, and then I heard on the radio this afternoon.
Use down your clothes. Yeah,
that NBC is. We need to get in with NBC that's charging $6 million for the Super Bowl ads for 30 seconds here. So, if we could work up to that, like $6.60, that would be good.
Man,
so
it's if Sonic wants to sponsor it, there you go.
So we do have some local news, and in a tweet by first the Reagan boys on June 3rd, and then SA Terrence also posted on here. Heather Boss is, according to SA Terrence, possibly the third woman to be head coach of a boys team in Texas. She'll be taking over for the school closest to me, Stevens High School. For that here, a little bit of background about Coach Boss here. Is she did grow up in the area, has coached soccer since 2004 at Warren, Brandeis, and now Reagan. She was the head coach at Brandeis, where she won multiple district championships. In 2018, after the Reagan boys was a state finalist, she was named the boys 6A Region 4 Assistant Coach of the Year by the Texas Association of Soccer Coaches, and that's from the Reagan Reagan Boys Soccer webpage there that they have here. So thank you for that information here.
That was Terrence Thomas, by the way.
Terrence Thomas at Twitter SA_Terrence1 for that here. It used to be with the Express News, but if you can follow him and support his writings and stuff like that here, would be greatly helped. He does a lot for the local soccer teams,
For sure.
especially on the women's side here as well here. We'll start with you, Royce. Your thoughts on Coach Boss being named head coach of the Stevens boys team?
It's awesome. I mean, we'll see where the results lie, but obviously has a heck of a resume. And that's that. You got to be excited if your kid goes to Stevens. If you are a kid at Stevens, it's pretty exciting, and hopefully they hit the ground running and they make a big splash.
Rafa, your thoughts? I know you and I watched Stevens play your old team Del Rio in the playoffs, and they came up a little bit short here. So your thoughts on Stevens, and also kind of how the fit will possibly be with her pedigree coming in.
She, I guess the knowledge she has, the background winning with there at Brandeis and Warren, but also being under a great program with that Reagan's boys program. I know Coach Villarreal has done a good job over there. So that's going to help, pick up the pace there at Stevens and help those players. Like I said, we did get to see them play. They came a little short on that bi-district game. So hopefully, her experience will help them maybe get them, further deeper in the playoffs, and also maybe in contention to that district title. And I know it's a tough district because you got, like Harlan. Harlan was the one that won district championship. You got Brennan. You have O'Connor. So it's a dogfight in that district. So it's a tall task.
Brandeis,
Well, Brandeis is actually with the Northeast. So they're not in they're not in the same district.
Okay, then ignore everything I'm saying. Okay.
But it's still, like I said, when you have 10 teams in that district, it's going to be tough. Tough. It's a playoff game every week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I think she'll do a great job, and hopefully, like I said, take Stevens to that next level and go deep in the playoffs.
So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said here, wish I was in town a little bit longer than not even 24 hours yet. I tried to see if I could have reached out to Danielle, or see if we could have possibly reached out to Coach Boss, to see if we could have had her on. And as we get closer to the season, we may try to see if we can do that here. For that here, speaking of lower league women's action, we have actually the Athenians, but before we get to the Athenians, because they have a lot of stories going on, WPSL has kicked off. They kicked off right about the time that I left, beginning of June, and almost are already through their season here. So locally here, second place, the San Antonio Blossoms played 5. They've won 3, drew 1, lost 1. In second place against AHFC Royals for that here, who's just been pretty dominating, 21 goals for, 0 against, and a perfect record. Unfortunately for the Surf, it's been the exact opposite. They played 5 matches. Unfortunately, have lost all 5, haven't scored a goal, and unfortunately is at a negative 24 goal difference. So they got 3 matches left. For the Surf, unfortunately, it looks to be a long season for the Blossoms. It'll be interesting if they can catch AHFC Royals, who they do play on the 27th, here at the Classic Elite Soccer Complex here. So we'll kind of keep close to see what, how that kind of sets up here. They actually got 2 matches here, June 20th against them. So, the Blossoms do have the ability to impact that result there. The Athenians, moving over to them, they've been very busy here recently here. They've got 15 points. They're leading the Southwest UWS Conference with a 5-1-0 record for that here. However, Lone Star Republic, who did defeat the Athenians, are 4-0, have 2 games in hand. So, and unfortunately, they don't play again. So, the Athenians, since we last discussed here, they beat Wilco 2-1, and then they also beat Side FC 2-1 this past week here. And then they had the big match, which I think most everybody here in San Antonio was excited about. They lost 2-0 to Club America Femenil, in what was a very, in my opinion, I watched it this morning on the replay here, a very competitive match. I thought the Athenians represented San Antonio and themselves very well against an elite level Liga MX team for that here. The estimated crowd was a little bit over, was around 1,200, and also they got about 3,800 views online for that here. So a lot of coverage for San Antonio for that here. So we'll start with you, Rafa. Your thoughts on the Athenians, especially facing Club America, and how competitive it was.
That's a good, to lose 2-0, that's a good result for them. I mean, like I said, Club America Femenil is one of the best teams, Liga MX, for the women's division, and to have that result, it's a positive going forward into, the rest of the regular season, and hopefully they can, get an opportunity to play that team that they lost to, in the playoffs, and that's going to help them out, playing the tougher, maybe a team that's more talented than that team. So, and I saw pictures of the great crowd out there. I did see some comments on Instagram for the Club America. They had nothing but positive things to say about the Athenians, and they enjoyed playing there. And like I said, they're hoping they can come back again, and hopefully maybe some of those Athenian players got noticed, and maybe, who's to say, maybe one or two get signed and go down there to Mexico City, go play for them. So hopefully there's an opportunity for them.
Your thoughts, Royce?
That was awesome, and a really good showing by the Athenians as well, who you'd think would be a little tired. They played Saturday, then they played, quick turnaround, just a whole bunch of games in like a 2-week period, a lot of wins. But they represented well. The crowd was exciting to have that big of a crowd. I saw the little bleachers that they had were almost full. So that was great. And then all the views online, because it was super hot. So I don't blame people for watching online, but those numbers don't lie. There's a lot of excitement for women's soccer in San Antonio for sure.
Well, to me, what makes it even more impressive is up in Austin, you had the U.S. women's national team that was playing at the same time. SAFC,
the exact same time.
SAFC
started an hour later. Yeah,
started an hour later, but that might, so to me, to get 1,200 fans out there, to be able to get the views that they had, I think is a great showing, for the Athenians and San Antonio overall, for that here. And maybe Spur Sports and Entertainment, we'll take a look at those numbers and say, hey, maybe women's soccer is something that they could do. They've got the perfect facility to be able to do it, but for that here. So Speaking of San Antonio FC, not good. I know Royce is a little bit more positive than I am on it here, but on a 3-game road trip that took them to Colorado Springs, took them to Vegas, and took them to New Mexico, they came away with 2 points. To me, losing to the lights was the
backbreaker.
Was the difference, because I think if you come home 4 out of 9 points, it's a little bit different discussion. But coming back 2 out of 9 points, it's a little bit tougher to swallow. So just I don't know how if we want to go into the lights game, because I don't think we really covered that a whole lot, did we? Did Royce freeze? Oh no, there he is.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the lights at all. We waited. We were going to combine the lights and
New
Mexico on today's show.
So, the lights match there on that one there. SAFC got the early goal in 9th minute by Joaquin Varela with an assist by Emil Suelo. And then, unfortunately, there was a penalty called, and in the 82nd minute, Cal Jennings converted it. I thought it was a valid PK. I thought it was a young player's move, because Olive had help, and I think if he would have just let him go to the defender, I don't. For me, being the amateur, I felt if he would have kind of, stepped back a little bit. He did have the help there where maybe he didn't have to be as aggressive as he was, and it ended up 1-1. So they left, they didn't put the game away, and give credit to the lights. They took advantage of the opportunity. So Royce or Rafa, who wants to start first on that match?
Rafa, go ahead.
I think that Las Vegas game, I don't know. We score, then hey, let's just park the bus. I don't. They didn't go into with a killer instinct. Just looking at the game, as you can see there, we were pretty much controlling the game for a while, and then we just when we got the goal, Las Vegas kind of went down a bit, but then they started building up their confidence up. They were making more threatening plays inside our box, and then finally they got that PK, and then they like I said, they had a chance to beat us, and we could have ended up with 0 points, but we got lucky, able to escape with 1. But that was a game we definitely should have gone 3 points, because Las Vegas, I don't think you can call them Vegas Lights FC, you call them Mercenary FC, because that's all. It's a mercenary team they're bringing every week, because you never know who's on the roster, And that's
but they've been, because they're basically a 2 team for this year. With LAFC, if you look consistently, they're getting 7 to 8 players. So I know SAFC kind of made a joke about it, with the tweet. But in all honesty, that's what the Lights have been doing, and it's been pretty much most of the same players that have came down or went over to Vegas from LAFC. But to me at that point, the Lights had only had won 1 game, which was against Tacoma. They had been blown out. Now, part of that was that they were on the road. That it's kind of a new thing. You can tell that they're getting their feet underneath them, because they ended up winning against Los Dos in the match after ours. So their last 3, they've won 2 and tied 1. So they are starting to get put it together a little bit better. But for me, watching this here, it's been the same old where we don't have possession, and it's that 70-30 split in possession. And I know Royce is saying, hey, it's a fixable. The errors that they're making are fixable, but at this point they're not. And I think part of it has to do with injuries and stuff. But at some point, you got to be able to win with who you got on the pitch.
But yeah, and then that rate, when you're being out possessed, especially by that big of a gap, you're not going to win games. You know, maybe you might sneak in one or two. If you do kind of park the bus like Atletico Madrid does, but you know, if most of the times you have to win the possession game to win games. You know,
See, I absolutely disagree with that. So
because if you don't have the ball, you don't score. That's the thing.
No, you can not at all. Just ask Leicester City, ask Atletico Madrid how that works out. Not at all. So what I think happened on the last two games, at least the first game, let's just discount that. It was a tie. There were 2 red cards. It was pretty dumb how that game ended up.
The switchbacks match, yeah.
Correct. Colorado Springs, excuse me. Now, the last 2 games, I think Marcina just got his tactics slightly wrong, and he should have applied the tactics from the second game and the first game and vice versa. The problem right now that Marcina is experiencing is his midfield is either hurt or it's out of position due to necessity, due to injury. Maloney should be on the left or should be on the right, and you should have so Gleedle and Maloney should be the wing backs. Maloney's unavailable, so you have Lima out there. Lima is a central midfielder. He's basically a 6 or an 8. He has to be on the outside. The backup for him is PC in both positions. He's out. It's just unfortunate injuries, and Marcina is trying to adapt because of that. Now, what happened in that first match, that I think he got he got the strategy right. It just didn't turn out well. And a big part of it was it would have been 1-0 had Ollie not had that youthful over exuberance. Yeah, and he made a dumb foul in the box, and it was a penalty. It was pretty cut and clear, and that was a big difference in the game. And that doesn't happen. Vegas doesn't score. No one's talking about it, but everybody's, we're going to talk about it there. I think he got his tactics fairly right, but what Vegas likes to do is they like to possess, and through Steve Cherundolo, what he really wants them to do is play a lot like LAFC. They're very possession based. They like to kick the ball around, but Marcina also knows that they're young and they make mistakes, and they made a lot of mistakes in the midfield where we intercepted it. We got the ball up to Dylan and he distributed out. Did it work every time? No. Our passing's terrible. Well, actually, our passing is the worst in the league. But
that's the issue, though.
And that can be fixed. Passing is a player thing. These guys are professional players. It's on them to make good passes. Yes, it's good to be in good position. A coach has to put a player in a good position, but I mean, passing just comes from practice. But
you also have to look at this as being from the coaching side. I know he has players hurt and so forth.
Yep.
But when you're down some of your top players, you have to adjust sometimes the style of play to make your players succeed.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that. And what we need to do a little more, I think we do need to possess the ball a little bit more just to be more sure of things, because we're giving up a lot of balls in the air, and we're losing them. And I think it's tiring. I think because of the lack of bench that we have, it's tiring the players out, especially this run. This was 3 games within a 6-7 game period. You're going to get worn out.
Yeah.
So I think he does need to tweak a little bit. I think we do a little bit more possession, balance it out instead of the 70-30. If we can get to maybe 60-40, I think we can be fine right there. But if it's going to be a big gap, we're going to end up losing. We're going to, especially with the injuries, we're going to lose more and more games because we're going to be tired.
And I disagree with that. I mean, I get where you're coming from. You get more tired when you're off the ball and you have to react to other people with the ball, 100%. And I get that, and that is a concern for sure. But what Marcina is doing is because his midfield is hurt. It is a hurt and depleted midfield already. We're in June. It's already actually in May. It was a depleted midfield.
Yeah, it's been depleted from the start.
Yeah. That So what he did in the Vegas game is he went after we scored the first goal off the corner kick, which by design gets set pieces. This team's going to be dangerous on set pieces. Hey, comes to fruition. They sat back in a 5-4-1, which is purely a gum up the works, don't let the other side get many chances, and just, get them on the counter. And that's exactly what they did. Should they have done that? I think they should have done that, but to a point. They went with the 5-4-1, and it was very difficult for Dylan to get any hold on the ball. The 4 midfielders stayed there. They never went up too much on the wings. They just sat back, and they invited the pressure. And what happened? Somebody got around Ollie when he came in, and Ollie chased him into the penalty box, and that's how the penalty was created. What I think he should have done was done what he did in the New Mexico game, was go with a 5-3-2 instead of the 5-4-1. Put somebody else up there. In this case, it was Perusa, with Dylan to help out to alleviate that pressure, and that also leaves Jose Gallegos in a world of space. And he got forward so many times on the counter, and he made so many plays up there, and he looked damn good. He just didn't finish his chances. He had 2 or 3 shooting chances that just didn't come off because he was a half a step slow. One of them, actually 2 of them, balls were tackled from his feet because he was just a little slow. If he's in top form, those are in the goal. And he also had 1 shot that missed the far post by not very much. So
there's one he got the goalkeeper did save.
Yeah,
also.
And there's another one the goalkeeper saved. You're right. Marcina had unlocked how to get Jose Gallegos the space he needs. I think that's how we're going to play in the future, especially if we don't get midfielders back. But what he really needs to do is figure out how to do that, but at the same time lock down that midfield, because just Cam Lindley, he kind of drowned in that New Mexico game just by himself. He had so many responsibilities. And I think if you would have done that with the Vegas game, because Vegas like to go up the wings a lot, I think that would have helped out a lot in that match.
And here's where I think some stats kind of make both of your arguments. So as we discussed, SAFC's last in possession at 38.2%. Next closest is Memphis at 40.5%. So that's a pretty decent gap, when you're talking about possession. But they're also last in accurate passes per match, where they only have about 167.5, which is a pass percentage of about 65.9. The closest is also Memphis at about 239 and 76%. Despite that, and this is where Royce's points come in, they're 8th in shots on target per match at 4.8.
And their XG is the second best in the division, which is your expected goals. That's second best in the division.
But to me, and I think this is to me, if they could improve their passing percentage by 5-10%, get it back to where it was last year,
I don't
then
disagree.
This team takes off.
I don't disagree.
The problem is that they're not, and I think that's the frustration. And Jacob, put this tweet out here earlier today, saying, that this seems to be the slowest AFC team ever had. No pace. Attacking players are second to every ball. Not just tonight. Something needs to be fixed. This team isn't just fun.
I'll tell you kind of why everyone was slow on the ball, because the ball was really slow on that baseball field.
The pitch was trash.
So, that's why it was slow, because they had no idea where the hell the ball was going to bounce. There were a couple times
or if it would bounce.
Yeah, exactly. There were a couple times where Perusa would have been one-on-one with the keeper, but the ball goes up. He runs like it's going to normally bounce.
Royce is unfortunately frozen in a bad position. You were saying the ball.
Let's see if it comes back.
You're back. You're back. You're back. Go ahead, Royce.
Nice.
Are you there, Royce?
Yeah, I'm here. I can see you. Okay, I see Rafa now. All right. Anyway, so ball gets played up to Perusa. He thinks it's going to bounce normally, and it stops on the ground off the first bounce. It doesn't even bounce. It
doesn't bounce.
To the dirt. And Perusa runs right by it, and the New Mexico center back comes and claims it and looks at Perusa like, what do you think this is? A real soccer field? So, that's no one was sure in that first half, and that first half is when SAFC was the most dangerous. But a big reason why they were so dangerous is because New Mexico hadn't scored that goal yet. After they scored the goal, they sat back and kind of gummed up the works like SAFC
what New Mexico
did.
does.
Well, also what SAFC does. That's what we did against Vegas, except we just had a youthful player commit a stupid penalty. But those things happen, and that's why you play the game. But like I was preaching to you guys, it sucks. 2 points out of 9 on a road trip sucks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not good. But this can very easily turn around. It's not like we're Oklahoma City. And now is when you're figuring out who you are. These first few months, April, May, June, July, this is when you figure out who you are. When crunch time comes is going to be August. That August is going to be the make or break August leading into the make or break October. October is going to be for seeding. August is going to be who's a contender, who's a pretender at the end of August. So if by the end of August we're still in the same position, yikes. But right now we're dealing with the injuries. We're trying to figure out who we are. And Marcina in this last game, to give you some hope, figured out how to unlock Jose Gallegos and just let him run on people. That's what he's been trying to do this whole season. That worked. We just didn't get the result.
So here's a question for you on that, though. We're getting closer to July.
Mm-hmm.
Does Jose stay? You just mentioned, hey, we've got the answer for Jose, but is Jose only here for 2 more weeks? That's the question. And we won't know that answer.
I don't know. Nobody knows. You know who knows? Spurs Sports and Entertainment. You know who's going to tell us from Spurs Sports and Entertainment? Nobody, because they're the damn CIA. Yeah. So
or unless his agent tells us, but that's all.
Do you know his agent?
I don't know. If he's out there, let us know.
It's probably Mino Raiola.
And as a SAFC fan, it's one of those bittersweet where you win and you lose, because as a SAFC fan, you want to see Jose for the finish the year because that helps our team. But for him as a player and for him as an opportunity to be able to take that next level for his career, and for SAFC, especially if they can sell him, for them, it's better for that here. But it's one of those
just for the exposure. And just to watch that kid grow where he needs to grow.
Yes.
He needs to go to the highest level he possibly can and to go prove himself. I'm so excited for him and his career. So I don't care if it's in San Antonio. I don't care. Besides Austin FC, that would be just a.
Well, he's not going MLS.
That would be a punch to the gut. But he should go to Europe and he should absolutely thrive over there because that kid is insane.
So.
Well, here's the thing. Do we shoot as far as with the player situation, especially like Maloney? That's the one. That's the big key that we're getting exposed at. Yeah. Should we go sign a player for that position for the meantime,
or try to loan?
Just to patch it up right now because that's where we're getting killed a lot, and I think we need to get that position filled up until he is able to come back, because that's another situation. We don't know what the severity of the injury. We don't know when he's going to come. Is he going to come back? If you know he's not going to come back for a while, go sign up. Go get a player from that position just to patch it up for right now until you get him back. And you are going to need that depth towards the end, like you mentioned, like that September, October, because we're going to need that, going into those games.
An interesting point to bring up, and something that I was wondering myself. When was the last time DePlane got minutes with the team, and when's the last time he was in the starting 18? Because I'm pretty sure he came home, and he's been home since the Vegas game. He could be a problem solver. I think he played in Colorado Springs for the first 20 minutes, and then
he got subbed out.
Yeah.
He got subbed out.
And he came straight home, I'm pretty sure, because he's been posting Instagram photos of himself in various San Antonio locations. But he could be utilized as a right back, You could put Gleedle on the left, which would allow you to put Lima in the middle, so you can have the double pivot Lima and Lindley again.
Yeah, he left in the 25th minute against Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and he hasn't been in the 18 since, which makes me question what's going on with that.
Neither has the Tunisian Terminator as well. So,
well, he's hurt. He's on the injury list. DePlane.
Well, both of them are. No, they are.
Is DePlane on the injury list?
Yes.
Let me consult that because I didn't see that. Okay. Well, if he's hurt, he's hurt. Then my bad. I completely.
Yeah, he's been on there. Yes.
See, with that, and when he wasn't hurt, wouldn't it have been a great idea to put him out on the wing, have Varela, have Axel in the middle, and then have Gleedle on the outside, whichever right or left?
So DePlane, like the FC Cincinnati people have said, does not have the speed to be a wing back. He has the speed to be a right back. So if he comes back, you go back to that 4-4-2, and up front you have Gallegos and you have ideally Patino, but you either have Perusa or Dylan. So
you're not wrong, Robert.
Yeah, we lead the league in lower body injuries. Yeah, that is 100% correct, and it's just unfortunate. The injury bug has bit us this season. That's all that can be said. Like I told y'all before we started the show, the biggest thing that really showed the juxtaposition of New Mexico United and SAFC happened before the match even started.
Yep.
Whenever they went over their injury list, whoever sponsors the injury list, New Mexico United has no injured players. Must be freaking nice because we have had half of our team on the injured list at least at one point, and we've had 3 or 4 guys not even make an appearance this season. So that's how it goes, man. It's luck of the draw, and we have not had the luck so far in the injury front. We have shown that this model works and Marcinus tactics work. Do they look pretty? No. But you know what happened the last time?
But I disagree on that.
Hold on. Do you remember the last time a coach in San Antonio FC coach came out and said, we are going to play pretty soccer, we're going to play possession-based soccer? What happened that season? That was a 2018 season. What happened that season?
2018, they had a very disappointing year.
Yeah. That was the one with Jack Barnaby, right?
But we didn't have pretty players. That's why.
No, it was just a bad season because we tried to possess. We did not do that well, and we got beat by teams that bunkered and countered, which is exactly what Marcina's doing, and we are countering well. We're creating the second most chances in our division. We're just not putting them away. So whenever we get the luck to not get injured all the damn time, and we get the luck to put the ball in the net a lot, this can get turned around super easy.
I think the reason, and I've been on this train, is I think when they're healthy, when they're on, they play very attractive soccer. The problem is that, and I don't want to say that they don't have a midfield, but they're not using the midfield at this point. It seems like that the midfield is MIA because on defense, they're pushed so far back to where they can't do their job in press, which I think is what you mentioned, that hey, they haven't really been pressing, is because they're too far. To me, they're too far back. And then on the offensive side, they're trying to go up and over, which frustrates the hell out of me. But it's because they don't have, I don't know if they have the players, but I don't know if they. In my opinion, I think they have the players to do it where they could try, but so far they haven't. And that's, to me, that's the issue with this team.
The forwards.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like the forwards. We have forwards over 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2". If you brought them for a reason, they might not be fast, but you brought them for a reason. Reason is you're going to send it, like you mentioned, Royce, as far as corner kicks, free kicks.
Crosses.
But that's what we're missing right there. When's the last time we sent in a cross in for a goal? That's the last time that happened was game 1. And that was with
Real Monarchs game 2, but before the red card.
Real Monarchs.
That was the last game with the second game.
Yeah, it's been a while.
that's the last time we've done that, and we have not done that, and we need to take advantage because a lot of the players with the defense we've gone, they've been shorter than some of our forwards. We need to take advantage more of that because I think Gallegos can do that, especially the space he's going. I know they're forcing him to take shots and so forth, but there was times I watched him say, "Hey, if you send in the cross in, you give Dylan or you give Perusa a shot at least to head one in, or maybe trap one in and kick it in." I think they need to add that, bring that back into the play, and I think that'll open up a little more things and bring more pressure. And I think it'll be, like I said, the game will open up more for them, and that's the one key that they're missing.
I disagree. I think that would open up the game for the other team. The reason we're so direct is because we only have, in the last match, it was a 5-3-2. So you only had, in that one in the middle was a defensive midfielder. So really you have two forwards that are looking to win the ball. And then you have two basically wingers that are looking to run off of them. If you have, somebody go up to the corner flag to make a cross, that leaves that entire side besides Doyle and Lima, that leaves them all alone, which we've seen how that plays. Hold on. We're so direct because we have so few personnel there in the middle. And if we stretch ourselves, you stretch yourself to a counter, and we're going to get beat on that every time. That's what RGV did. That's why we're so narrow up front and we're trying to go straight. That's why we're bypassing the midfield now. We're not in that 4-4-2 anymore. We're in that 5-3-2 because of injury, because of necessity. And that's part of the game plan. That's part of the tactics. Hey, Jose, look at all this damn space I'm going to leave you. Go dribble the damn ball in there and go make something happen. What did everybody say about Clint Dempsey? Do shit. And that's what Jose Gallegos does. He does shit, and he does it very well. But that's all part of the tactics. That's part of it. And it's out of necessity. We don't have a wide, when we do play the 3-4-3, sure, wingbacks get up and then put as many crosses as you can. But right now, because of injuries and suspensions, we don't have that. So you do not want to cross unless we have that 3-4-3, unless we're playing in that, or that 4-4-2 to go up. So yeah, and also a big thing, they played on a baseball field this last game. The last two games they played on baseball fields. Those are much more narrow than a normal soccer field. So you can't play very wide when you're there. Look at New Mexico. How many chances of theirs came off of crosses? 0. They never crossed the damn ball. They went straight in because you can't get enough width to cross the ball. You have to also think about where you're playing. At Toyota Field, sure, but there is always a complaint that Rafa had a lot. There's always a complaint that Harry had a lot. I just pointed the wrong way. That was kind of funny. Bad weatherman. Who are we crossing to? We're crossing to nobody in the box. I remember that the last couple seasons, that was a big complaint. Who do we cross it to? Nobody. That's what we would do right now, is we would cross it to nobody, because nobody can really, not a lot of guys can get forward, because we are a defensive first team right now. And that's, like I said, out of necessity. We don't have that midfield that can connect the attack. That's why Nathan's so important when he's in there. But he needed a break. He's been since the suspension. He's been playing every game.
I don't think it's the forwards that are the issue. And I think the forwards have done a good job. So
they have worked their ass off. Dylan looks
both ways.
Yeah,
and both ways. So it's, to me, the issue isn't the forwards. I think the defense has done all right, with the exception of the left back, fullback.
He's out of position as well. Yeah,
right. But and to me, that's my biggest complaint so far, is if you knew Maloney was going to be out this long.
Yeah.
And that it goes back to, why did he and we'll never know if he re-aggravated the injury or what, but why did he play the half against RGV in preseason, where, okay, hey, he's back, he's getting a few minutes.
Right.
And then nothing, and we're what,
that was a closed door one too, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
when he came off at half, we'll never know if he. Well, the only one that wasn't was streamed, and that was the FC Dallas one.
Dallas one, right?
But yeah, no, it.
You have a reaction to bringing Perusa in. That's the thing. You bring Perusa in because there was a time that, hey, we do need some depth at the forward, but the green light, the red light is like, hey, we need to bring in for that spot too, and we have not done that.
Yeah.
We need to find someone for that spot,
And
just for the meantime,
yeah.
just like a Band-Aid for right now until he comes back. And if they keep on going with this, we're gonna fall behind in points. You know, every team is gonna go through us through that. And like I said, watch Saturday's day. I kid you not. Where are they gonna go to? They're gonna go on the right side. Hey, let's go after Doyle. So why don't you counter that by signing somebody that's gonna stop that? You know, there's got to be someone out there that can stop that.
I think it took an act. I honestly think it took an act of God for Marcina and Tim Holt to go talk to Spurs Sports Entertainment and tell them, hey, we got to change formations because these guys are hurt. We got to go 3 in the back. We need another center back. And they went, and that's when they got Varela for who knows how much on loan. I think that was kind of the last ditch. Okay, this is the last one. I think it would just be a tough ask to go back and be like, okay, we need a left wing back, which is probably going to be an expensive loan.
But why not try Bryant? You know, put Bryant, and I know Bryant and he wasn't perfect in preseason, and I'm assuming that's probably why he's not playing.
Yeah.
But he's faster than Doyle. I'm assuming he's faster than Doyle.
Well, he's a right back or right wing back. But
you can move. Gleedle can play both sides.
Exactly.
So you put Gleedle on the other side. You put Bryant there. You put Axel next to
It would be Varela on the right. It would be Varela backing up.
Varela. But to me, he's senior enough to where the reason why I was going to put Axel is because with his experience and stuff, can cover for some of his mistakes. Because he's going to make mistakes.
We also don't see what happens in practice, and maybe he's developed. That's not his natural position. Ethan is a 10 or an 8, and that's.
But we don't know that because we haven't seen him play in 2 years, 3 years.
I'm saying in the 2019 season, he was a midfielder. He was a central midfielder, and he pulled the strings. Every once in a while, he'd get wide and put it across. But normally, he was in the middle, and he was controlling that. He was the 10, basically. He was a provider. And to have him develop some defensive prowess and know-how, it might take a while, and that may be something they were trying to work with them on in Belgium. We'll never know. I mean,
right?
That's a possibility there. They may have moved him on the outside.
Yeah,
and they gave him some experience there, but still, I think they do. Maybe they need to test it out to see.
Maybe give him some minutes at the end of a game, sub him in, and see how he does. But at the same time, the last 2 games that could have been a possibility. Actually, the last 3 games that could have been a possibility. We're chasing the damn game. We were down 1 chasing the game, except for Vegas. But Vegas, they were just attacking like no one's business, and we were trying to hold that. And that one play just was a difference. But that's what happens sometimes. But in the New Mexico and the Colorado game, we're chasing. So you're not going to put a defensive sub on there. You're going to put all the attack on there, which is literally what he did in New Mexico. But they sat back, and it's a lot easier to sit back on a baseball field than it is on an actual soccer field. So
it's and like I said here, New Mexico is a tough place to play. It is. It's it's to me, it's like Phoenix. The crowd, the environment, the stadium, the pitch. I was joking with Chris Walker of Seek and Strike that. He can no longer complain about the sandbox any longer because his field was shit on there.
I mean, even on the baseball side, like, good God, it just looked like crap all around. Whether you're going to play baseball or soccer on it, that wasn't even up to high school. That wasn't even up to middle school standards.
I didn't understand. Even in the outfield, the ball would come in and it would dud. It was all like. To me, it was like playing on a beach. It had like playing Sunday
it was worse than a beach. Yeah, it was a Sunday league field. That's literally
Sunday Men's League.
And that's not to take away from New Mexico United.
No, not at all. That's I would say the same thing if SAFC were to have stolen that game somehow. That was bad. That field was in very poor shape, and I wonder if they have a similar option to what Birmingham did.
I don't know if they'd have to go onto the university there.
They used to have a soccer program there.
Right, but I've heard it's
the
very
college.
expensive to rent that from New Mexico universities, and
also, if
there.
New Mexico United's going to win games on their crappy field, they're going to stay on the crappy
Yep.
field. So
We did it. We did it
Let's
when
be-
it was stand on ours.
not
We beat
wrong.
El Paso and New Mexico and took advantage of it. So
Not wrong. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that field, it's broke.
So looking ahead to another Copa Tejas South Texas Derby against RGV, who are the leaders of the Mountain Division, although they just lost at home on a last kick to the Bold. On an awesome free kick.
Really good free kick. Really good in the bottom left corner.
It was good. Derek was there, but it beat him. It's the third match already. RGV won down there. They tied here on, I believe it was a late goal, if memory serves me correct.
The late bicycle kick. Yeah.
So I'm already concerned about Doyle because last match he got away with hugging. I'm not sure if he's going to get away with hugging again for it here and the speed. And I know they've already kind of tinkered with that. But how do you see this Saturday being Pride Night, which is sold out? So outstanding job. And it is the last match at the COVID limitations. The next match, July 3rd, against the Austin Bold, will be a full stadium back to your normal seats. So if you haven't got tickets, please do, because we want to 4th of July fireworks and hopefully 3 points against the Bold. But
I think it's $1 beer or $2 beer as well.
$2 beer or something like that. Yeah, it's going to be a very good night. But Pride Night, I'm excited for that here. They have the kits there also that you can bid on. I believe they're signed. I think I read that they were signed as well. For that, I know they start out $100 for the player signatures. So if you haven't bid on one, please do. And I'm assuming SAFC's probably emailed anybody that listens to here's probably already got the email. Or if you go onto the SAFC Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, they have the links. They're there. But Rafa, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on the upcoming RGV match and what's your kind of expectations?
It's going to be another dogfight. So like I said, it's the Derby. But we need to get 3 points. I think to me this is a must-win, just for tiebreaker purposes, just in case if something comes down towards the end. Because this is the last time we're playing them here at home. I know we still have another game down there, but we want to get the win at home, get the 3 points, and get back in it, get some momentum going into the another Copa Aztecas game, which is the bowl game. So we need to start building up momentum, and if we can get 6 points, we're back in it. And I know there were some comments flowing around about us being a little dirty team and this and that. I kind of see it the other way.
I am going to address Edson's comments on that here.
But there's nothing wrong with a little hugging. You need a hug here and there, but
kettle meat pot.
But if you can't play physical, then you shouldn't be on the pitch. So that's another thing. But I'm hoping that Marcina does learn from the first 2 games against RGV and fixes the problem on the left side. They're gonna go hit you there. You have to come up with a game plan that's going to make RGV okay. We can't do this. We got to do something else. And also take advantage of their. I think their defense is not strong. I know they have Pimentel. I know he has experience, but the rest of the players, they were making a lot. They were making mistakes, and I think we need to force them to make mistakes out there. And I know they have a great goalkeeper, but hey, we got one in the last time, and I think we just need to pepper them with a bunch of shots. And if we can one thing is we do need to get a lead. We do not play well from behind. We need to get a lead, and we need to get a big lead, like a 3-goal lead, not a 2-goal lead, a 3-goal lead. So, because 2-0, it can't be 2, because 2-0 has always been the curse on us. So, yeah, we can get 3.
You know what they say in hockey: the 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey.
Yeah. So
I honestly think a good preview for this match is going to be this match against New Mexico and how it started with I think the way you solve all that pressure
Mhm.
on Lima and Doyle is you put Gallegos on that side and you have him just run amok, and you have the RGV midfield and defense worry about Gallegos, because that's exactly. I mean, New Mexico tried to key on that right side and they got burnt multiple times for it. And I think Marcinez unlocked that, had to relieve the pressure from Lima and Doyle. You just got to figure out the midfield, and you got to get that.
And
You
they
gotta
don't
get
have
that
they don't
solved.
have anybody that can stop Gallegos. I think
No.
that's going to be a concern for them.
I think
But-
the only person that can stop Gallegos is Tyler Derrick, and we'll see if the same Tyler Derrick shows up that showed up at Toyota Field last time.
So for SAFC, they get RGV this week. The 26th, they go to Real Monarchs, which we've had fairly good success there. For here in the Monarchs are down a little bit this year. It will still be a tough place.
And
to
that'll
play.
be that Real Monarchs game will be Patino's first game back from his
First game
suspension.
back, right? Mm-hmm. And then they come home and play the Bold on the third here. So if they can get the win against RGV, it sets up to where you could I won't say
Go on
get
a
rid
run.
of that bad taste from this 3-game road trip, but it's something that you can put back in the mirror saying, hey, it was just injuries, bad luck,
Yeah.
a couple of those things. But if they, to me, they need a win. I think you're starting to see a little bit of frustration with the players. Build up, and I don't think it's frustration against Marcina. I think it's frustration that they're not getting the results.
It's frustration that they're creating so many chances, they're just not putting them away, man. And like I said, that's the big thing, is they are second in XG. I mean, XG's it's been a pretty reliable stat since they came out with it.
I'm not a fan.
And okay, I mean,
It's like
coursing. It's like coursing in hockey. It's one of those things where it's it's like launch angle, and it's like exit velo in baseball. They tell you something, they don't tell you the whole story, but they tell you the potential is there. But it's a results-based game, and XG doesn't mean the results are going to be there.
Yep.
But at the same time, I mean, we can open our eyes. We can watch that New Mexico game all over again. In that first half, before that first goal, look how many chances SAFC created off the counter.
Well, they had the best
just
chance.
Gallegos created 4 or 5 chances. He doesn't put them in the back of the net. You put those in the back of the net, shit, you're up 4-5-0. So just keep doing what you're doing, and hope. It's the old Bull Durham baseball thing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
And I will say this, and I've already seen some whispers on social media about Marcina. Is it time? Is his seat kind of getting warm? I don't think it is.
Bunch of Arsenal fans out there. Jesus.
I don't think it is, because number one, there's been a ton of injuries. Now, if we're talking about July, August time frame, where we're still experiencing these same results and stuff, that might be where you start to see. But as I sent out a tweet quoting Pitch Black Kyle Mankey, it's still early. We're not even 10 games into it yet. So I know we want results, and I think what frustrates people is they see the talent and the results aren't equaling what the talent is, and that's the frustrating part.
So that was always a knock against Powell, and that's what this goes. I'm going back to Powell because he was obviously the first coach in SAFC, but he was the first really guy that there was kind of a fan mutiny against Powell, where the team looked really good on the field, but the results just weren't coming in, and that's all. But Powell didn't make
adjustments, though. That's the issue. In-game adjustments he did not make. Or Marcina will make in-game adjustments. Now whether they work or not, that's a whole separate discussion.
But what Powell did was he put players on there, and he gave them the opportunity to succeed. They didn't do that all the time. I mean, there are a couple times where Powell would change things out of necessity, and it was just the wrong change. But there were times he would change, it just didn't pan out too well. But there were a lot of people that just, they saw the results and it was pretty soccer, but just the results weren't there. With Marcina, he's set up to get results. It's not the prettiest, but it's to get results. And it's the chances are there. The stats, except for passing, obviously passing is kind of a bad thing, but we get that. Honestly, we get passing together. If we can pass it up from the back line to the forwards and then to a midfielder to go run.
I think maybe what do you think about this? Like, I know you mentioned about the fans, I guess the comparisons, like this is with Phoenix. They're like say, well, why is Phoenix here and we have all this talent, but we're still down here? What's going on? That's the chatter I do hear. Like, okay. So why can't we?
There's three things there. Phoenix has a ton of money, and they spend like no one's business.
I don't.
Okay.
They don't.
Okay.
I think Spurs. To me, if you look
Spurs
at salary wise, Spurs. I think San Antonio and Phoenix are spending fairly close.
Okay.
I have some contacts with Phoenix Rising. The perception is that they're spending a lot of money. They're not. I'm not saying that they're not spending money, but they're not like the Cosmos, where they're going way out. They're in the upper third, yes.
What I meant
that far out.
What I meant by spending a lot of money, I don't mean spending a lot of money on player wages. What I mean by spending a lot of money is their signings that they make. They have signed some MLS forwards, and also a big thing for Phoenix Rising is the players that they have signed, they've gotten lucky because they have not gotten injured.
Yep.
And they're just good. Like Solomon Asante was one of their first signings after their rebrand, and that dude has just been worth his weight in gold. And he was a free agent at one time. They just got lucky and he stayed there. Junior Flemings was one of the best players in the league. Same thing with JJ when he was there, and JJ was with SAFC for a season. And he was kind of he was a journeyman. He just stuck there. Same thing with, like I said, Junior Flemings was the best player in the league. And he was a free agent that we signed Gordon at the same time they signed Junior Flemings. They're both out of Jamaica. Just, one obviously ended up panning out better. And it's just about,
they play a different system though.
They also play a very different possession-based system
with speed on the outsides. Yes.
Right. And it works for them very well. They have, it obviously works very well.
We say that, but they've yet to, yes, they won the Western Conference, but they have yet to win it all. We don't know last year. You got to kind of put an asterisk with that statement.
Right.
But and like I said here, San Antonio always matches up well against Phoenix outside of the match that I went to, Phoenix and Diego's last match. But to me, it's a different style of play, and that's what. Yes, they play attractive, but when they're not on, they give up a lot of goals and along those lines here. To me, I think that they also play their home field advantage where, they play fast. It's hot. It's just like going to Colorado. They have that atmosphere and they do it. But for Phoenix, the perception that they're just blowing people away, salary wise, I know that's incorrect.
Salary, no, but transfers, yes. That's what I meant. Is a transfer. They had some deals with Atlanta United where they sent their forward over there and they So yeah, exactly. So certain things like that to where they are getting more into, that. That's kind of where they're out. I don't know if you're outworking SAFC or SAFC is even looking at that, but
I don't think that's because if you look at the talent SAFC has, I think it's on par. I think the big issue that San Antonio FC is having right now is the injuries. They play a different style. They play a more physical. When Marcina got hired, the people are like, he's like an ankle biter. You're going to get. It's going to be physical. They're going to lead the league or, be one of the league leaders in yellow cards and stuff like that because they play on that edge. Marcina doesn't back down from that. So we're getting how Marcina plays. And I know a lot of people don't like the style of it, but when he has his proper team, it's a beautiful game. It works. The issue is, and I know Royce has mentioned this, several times. We don't have the right tools as of yet. Especially in the midfield. The question, and to me, the midfield, and I think the right back is the biggest issue. I think if they had a better right back situation, the discussion would be a little bit different, and that's why I'm wondering if they didn't anticipate Maloney being out this long, and if he's having some sort of issue on getting that fully fitness to where they're comfortable with them. And to be honest with you, and this goes to Royce's point, I'd rather miss the 8 to 10, 12 games now to have him healthy down when it comes, to August, September, October, when you've got all those games back to back
crunch
to
time.
back.
That's going to be winning time. That's going to be crunch time.
But I still say that for this week, it's a very important game that they need to get the 3 points against RGV. Number one, they're the leader of the division. So if you don't get the 3 points, they get the 3 points. That puts you 9 points back.
That's
and
fair.
You don't want to finish fourth, because finishing fourth, you're on the road to Phoenix in that first match, most likely, which you don't want to face Phoenix
It's going to be tough.
in the first round on the road there.
That's fair.
Final thoughts. I know we kind of covered a lot of topics from high school to the women's professionals, women's WPSL, UWS. I thought we had a pretty healthy discussion with SAFC. The runners also, I don't think it was a league. I think it was just a friendly match that they played, right? The runners kicked off?
I think it was an opener because they switched, but I know they had to switch opponents. I think they played whoever they were supposed to play, I think pulled out, so they had to switch opponents.
Because I tried going on to the National Soccer League website here, and unfortunately it wasn't up to date here, so couldn't verify if it was their home opener, but they did end up losing 2-0 to it here, to
It was Tapatios.
Yeah, I think it was Tapatios.
Yes.
Which I
Go
don't.
to
Yeah, it's a friendly.
Tapatios FC.
It was a friendly. It was a friendly. It was not a league game. Yep.
So I know they're getting closer. I'll reach out to Mason, see if we can get a little bit further instruction, because the website didn't really have anything.
Yeah. I know. I heard that they changed opponents, and then I forgot to look after that it wasn't going to be a league game. That's right. Yep. Thought about that. I was like, wait, they played? Oh yeah, they did play because they had to switch opponent. Yeah. So I guess they'll start their league next week, right? It's because they should have done it today instead of doing it next week. I suppose. Anyway,
we will see. But final thoughts, Rafa?
Final thoughts, like I said, I look forward for this game on Saturday. So you have an opportunity. I know it's sold out, but if you do have a ticket, it'll be great. Get your go buy your pregame shirt. I know they're on sale. They look pretty snazzy, so I'll probably pick one up tomorrow. And then also my final thought, watching soccer over this week, especially the Denmark game, that was an eye-opening experience. And, kudos to the medical staff there. And like I said, I know we have some of that. They're at Toyota Field and so forth. We're kind of blessed that something serious has happened to us here locally. But to those, kudos to them. They saved Ericsson's life, and hopefully he'll get back soon. But the big thing is he's still here. Whether he continues on his play or not. That's it's just a game, but like I mentioned, I'll go babbling on this because I got emotional just watching it, just seeing them on there, seeing them do the CPR, they're breaking out the defibrillator, and then just the reaction of the crowd. But like I said, kudos to all the medical staff. They are an important piece of the soccer games. Without them, things like this, prevent stuff like things from happening. So kudos to them, and prayers out to Erickson on a speedy recovery.
Any thoughts on the Euros outside of the Ericsson issue? The France-Germany game was a very entertaining game. That group is the group of death of group of deaths for that year. But any thoughts on the Euros so far?
You know what team you should really look out for? Italy. Those guys have been on fire.
Yeah, they are by far the best team in that tournament, and if they don't win, it's going to be a self implosion because they look so damn good. They press well. They press as a cohesive unit, which is very rare for a country, for a national team. And they just create so many chances. And Locatelli, watch out for him to be the next $100 million transfer because he's on fire, and he'll probably get signed by Real Madrid or Man City for a really stupid amount of money. So watch out for that.
Yeah, then Italy. I think they're gonna probably be the one team that probably can contend with France. But France, kudos to them. They put on a clinic on. It wasn't. The good game was Germany, but they did put on a clinic, especially attacking wise. So that might be like a tip and go if they do meet up. Other teams I've been impressed. Belgium, kudos to them. They did a comeback victory. I know it's an emotional game because Denmark was riding high, trying to win it for Ericsson. But kudos to Martinez.
They got their early goal too.
Yeah, and Martinez made some. Yeah, Martinez made some excellent changes.
What turned that game? Yeah. Well, what turned that game around was putting the best player in the world, Kevin De Bruyne, on. I mean, that if you're going to call Roberto Martinez a genius for putting on the best player in the world, so be it. Germany has they have problems, and I think the number one problem is Jogi Löw, he's been great, but
he's checked out though.
He's already on his way out, anyways.
Yeah, they need Hansi Flick in there because all Jogi Löw did was he said, "I'm going to put you attackers in a really good spot, but I'm not going to give you any ideas of how to go forward." So all you had was all this passing from Germany right around France's box, and then to show for it because they didn't have any actual plan to score, and France
all he's doing is scratching his butt and smelling it. That's all he's doing on the
as
bench,
he's done since he's won the World Cup. So that is World Cup winner Jogi Löw. So is what it is.
I have to ask: is it coming home? What do you give England?
I think Scotland's going to beat England because Tierney's healthy. No, I think that's going to end up in a draw. England's going to lose in that first. They'll probably lose in the first, the last 16
I think
round.
They'll lose in the quarterfinal. I think they'll win the second round game.
That. Yeah, I think before that is when. Well,
before that, I think they'll win the second round, but I think they'll go to the quarterfinal. But
Miss Gleal says no way.
Yeah, but the other team
in trouble here.
England always chokes. Yeah.
What's going to happen? That round of 16 match is going to end up going to penalties, and as per usual throughout English history, they're going to lose in penalties. Mark it down.
And then Portugal does look good. I mean, they're more talented. They were more talented than when they won it. That's the big difference.
They were flattered by.
They were flat, but.
Turkey. No, they're flattered by Turkey's. Turkey's terrible. They played Turkey, right? Who did they play?
No, it was Hungary.
Hungary, that's right. They were flattered by Hungary was out there, and that first half, they didn't get anything done because they had 67,000 people in Budapest behind Hungary to push them. And then that second half is, Portugal did not look good in that game. They did not look good at all. Their talent took over, and Hungary, they starved.
They weren't hungry enough.
Joke, I know.
But then Ronaldo did get his 2, and he's four goals closer to breaking the record or tying the record.
I think he needed 5. Now he needs 3 to tie.
3, he needs 3 to tie the records, which I think he might get it.
We'll see.
Robert put who I thought is. I was impressed with North Macedonia. Like I said, I know that
Sorry, Robert.
They're not going to win it.
North Macedonia is not even getting out of the group stage. I don't
But I thought they, for being a minnow, I thought that they did really well. And like I said, I watched the Ukraine match today, and it was entertaining. And like I said here, I know they're not going to win it, but I enjoyed it and was kind of rooting for them for that here.
Surprised Holland's winning a couple games. They were disappointed. They were disappointed, really
bad against the Ukraine. Yeah, looked really disappointed. They looked really bad against the Ukraine, but they found a way to score. Memphis Depay, that he's all but going to Barcelona, guaranteed, right? He has to be going to Barcelona. Like he was with Man United, and he was one of those youthful players they signed, and then they just kind of let go by the wayside because he didn't pan out in like the 2 months they gave him to play. But he's been a really solid player for he's with not Lille, but that's not Leon. Anyway, he's in the French league.
Olympique.
I can't think of the team he's on, but anyway, he's been their best player for a while, and they've been one of the contenders in that.
No, he's with Lyon.
Leon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd second guess myself because I was like, that's a Mexico team. That's also a big city in France. So there you go.
Think about Lyon. Speaking of Mexican teams.
Yeah, it's a lot of Mexican soccer coming to San Antonio. And also Cruz Azul, the champions, are going to be in
Austin.
Cool.
I do have one more thing for Rafa here. Sergio Ramos leaving Real Madrid. Your thoughts?
I think that was a mistake. I don't know what Florentino's doing. I think he needs to retire already. I think Ramos was still good. I think for one more year. I think what really kind of cut up was the injuries.
Breaking news: Sergio Ramos to Barcelona. I think they need some center back help. That would be excellent.
No, he's coming to MLS, right?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes to Miami. He goes to Miami. I mean, Beckham.
Dude, Miami.
Can Sergio Ramos play right wing back? Because SAFC, get on the phone.
I mean, we can move somebody out. We can loan back someone in the center mid and bring him in.
That'd be an interesting swap. Jose Gallegos for Sergio Ramos. That would would break a whole lot of news throughout the soccer world.
So I'll bring all my Madrid jerseys there to get signed every game.
Guys, this is a lot of final thoughts. This is interesting.
Well, I had to touch base on that.
Yeah, you had to touch on that. I think it's a mistake, but I think he's gonna end up more likely. The two teams I think is either Man City or PSG. I think the third one probably maybe be Man U would be, but don't count out Bayern. But Bayern could sweep them in because they did lose
Bayern
Alaba.
Needs center back help. Yeah,
and Alaba's not with Real Madrid.
Well, Robert makes a fair point here.
Hey,
fair.
Hey, but Ramos has more championships than red cards. So hey, so you gotta give him that.
Somehow I doubt that.
He's got a lot, right?
No, but Bayern lost
22 titles.
I think Bayern lost Alaba, and they also lost Jerome Boateng too, right?
Yeah.
So they need all new center backs. So yeah, that could be a good shout, Bayern. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right, so we interrupted Rafa's final thoughts here.
Sorry,
for the Euro discussion and.
Are you gonna ask Copa America too? Because Neymar just scored right now.
Oh, did he? So what? I can't believe they're playing in Brazil. Just because they pulled it from the other countries because of COVID, and I know there was another issue with the protest going on there. Were you shocked that it went to Brazil and they didn't move it to the United States, especially where they're playing with no crowds?
Well, here they're not really playing with any crowds, but the one thing, the factor was, I know like the Venezuela who just played right now, they lost 14 players because of COVID. And I thought, well, why are they going to play this in Brazil? They should have, honestly, they could have pushed it back a bit, maybe played it in the United States. I mean, we have the venues for it, unless they were going to, because remember, you also have Gold Cup and also you have your MLS games. Just were they gonna not fit into the schedule? I mean, I think they could have done maybe, hey, let's just play in 4 locations. Well, they're 2 groups anyways. They could have played in 2 locations. Hey, we'll play in LA, then we'll play in Miami, or we'll play in New York, and that's it. We'll play all the games there, and then have the final in Dallas or have it in Vegas or whatever.
They could have played their games, and they could have played all their games in the Alamo Dome. So
that too.
Their loss.
I mean, all right, Royce. Well, did you have any more final thoughts since you've had 15 minutes of final thoughts there, Rob?
just that. I mean, just looking forward for this weekend. Having you back from Cancun. I'm sure you have your final thoughts about Cancun and a couple of other things.
No. My final thoughts is going to be about the Pride Night here at San Antonio FC. It's been something that we've asked. For years.
Yeah.
So I want to give San Antonio FC, and I think it was Bree that started it out 3 years ago. I want to say and to see them have it recognized. I complained originally, that it's on Juneteenth, so I wish it would have been on a different night. But how the schedule was, unfortunately, they didn't really have the opportunity to do it.
It's the only match in June, which is Pride Month, so.
Which is what they have, but. My final thought is, like I said here, thank you, San Antonio FC. Like I said here, I don't think there's anybody in this area that doesn't know anybody that, is gay, lesbian, along those lines here, that, it's welcoming to have a club that includes everybody. I know we all have different politics and different views and all of that stuff, but I know SAFC does a great job of trying to be inclusive to everybody. Along those lines here, for that here. So I just want to give a shout out to San Antonio FC, for having that. Do also want to give a shout out to RGV, their turtle jerseys and what they're doing, A+ for it here. Your team still sucks, but I will give you credit.
Not wrong.
The turtle kits. The turtle kits and what you're doing is awesome. Is awesome.
It's cool. That's really cool that they did that. It's a good bit. That's good on RGV for that, for sure.
So, and that's not something that they've done previously. You can tell that they are making more of a outreach in the local community, like SAFC is, which is something to be proud of. For being here in Texas. Whether it's Austin.
They're showing they're not just Dynamo Junior. They're showing that they're establishing themselves as an independent team.
Yep.
And you love to see it. Honestly, it's cool.
So, Royce, your final thoughts, and then we'll let you take us out of the show.
So, yikes. Pressure. Rafa kind of stole mine with Christian Eriksen. Super happy that he's still among us, and super happy that, the medical staff was there, and the officials on the field took 10 seconds before, not even 10 seconds before they called over the medical staff because he knew something was going on. So, I mean, those split-second decisions saved his life, and got to be happy for him and his family for that. Whether his career's over or not, that is the smallest thing in the world. The fact that he's still with us, that's all that matters. I guess the other thing that was on my mind today was that our governor decided he's going to spend $250 billion on a border wall when we got to keep our houses at 80 degrees because our electrical grid isn't up to par, even though it's the best it's ever been. I guess it's been pretty crappy since it was built, and also came to sign a gun bill in the Alamo. Well, the reason he didn't want to sign that bill in Austin is because they just had a mass shooting not even a week ago. I mean, read the damn room, dude.
That I don't understand.
Texas government sucks so bad. Vote these people out. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous, man.
I can tell you about the wall.
I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a Democrat. Get better people in there because the Attorney General is under indictment and he's under a lot of criminal indictments. The Lieutenant Governor and the Governor are just crappy, terrible, awful leaders. They're not even leaders. They're just bad people, and they suck. Get them out of there. They don't deserve to be there. There are so many simple things, expand Medicare. Sure, that might be a little controversial, but if you have $250 billion, are you going to build 100 miles of wall? Or are you going to help people out? 100 miles of wall is not going to help anybody out. Actually expanding Medicare or actually fixing the power grid, maybe that'll help some people. So vote those people out this in November. Just tired of this crap. I guess that was it. I didn't mean to get that political, but that's what's on my mind. So, and also they decided to attack innocent trans kids just for no reason, to not have them participate in sports and social life, just because that's the biggest thing on their mind. After you had an estimated 700 people die in a winter storm because our power went out throughout the state, the number one thing on your mind is not even 1% of the school population kids getting to play sports. Give me a damn break. Get out of that office. You don't deserve that. Sorry.
And if you haven't got vaccinated, get vaccinated. It's, like I said here, just do it. And it's, I know there's a whole bunch of craziness going on with it, but
also sorry.
I'm not magnetic. I took my vaccine. I don't have magnets.
Like, here's a hairpin. Didn't stick. No, also the Mike Taylor Show barbecue is on Saturday from 11 to 3. Drive through. There's still some tickets available. DM me if you're interested. They're $10 for a barbecue plate. Also, there are $10 VIP tickets. I don't think they're sold out yet. That comes with, like I said, it's 11 to 3. Comes with free food. I know the grilling sliders are going to be barbecue samples throughout the day. And also there's going to be a whole bunch of bands playing, mariachi bands, DJ, just it's going to be fun. If you haven't been vaccinated, obviously wear a mask. If you are vaccinated, no mask.
Still wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly. Just be respectful. That's all it's about. Just be respectful. So.
I will say this, having gone to Mexico,
yeah, the punishment is pretty severe if you don't wear a mask out there, huh?
Yeah, 36 hours in jail for not wearing. And let's face it, Mexican jail is
it's a whole other beast.
It's a whole different discussion. But just, I know we seem very divided right now. Right, left. Along various lines.
RGV, SAFC,
SAFC,
baseball field versus soccer field. Yeah.
Everybody's against New Mexico. Everybody's against New Mexico. Fuck New Mexico. But
water versus Coca-Cola.
But one of the biggest things that is that was the first time my kids have been outside of the United States, and we went to a couple of the areas and. I made this comment to my wife today, as we were driving around San Antonio, and I've been in other parts where even if you're in the worst part of San Antonio, that's typically better than what you're going to be in probably the average part of Mexico, along those lines here. So just appreciate it. I know, Royce, mentioned some political stuff earlier here, It doesn't mean you got to vote for a Democrat or vote for a Republican, but we need to vote out who's in office just because, they may not have Texans' best interest in mind. We'll just say
they don't have yours or my best interest in mind. They have some Texans' best interest in mind, but sure as hell ain't the average.
Like I said here, where
average person,
where you're being say, hey, you can't have your temperature below 80, or it's recommended, and then next word out of his mouth is, oh, hey, but everything's great. It
best it's ever been. Best it's ever been. But it's going to shut down.
It doesn't add up. But hopefully we have a much happier discussion, although we didn't have a really bad discussion, but hopefully we get a 3-point discussion against RGV. Before we head up to Real Monarchs. I will try to see if I can reach out to Landon Southwick of Real Monarchs for next week for that here. He's the play-by-play guy for them here, and usually we can get in touch with him to kind of discuss how Real Monarchs are looking for next week. But please be safe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll get this uploaded for you. And what's life without goals? And Scott, sorry we dished on your Germany team this episode.
Es tut mir leid.